as you can quite clearly tell, it's the middle of August. And not the week, few days before this video is released. Nope, middle of summer, beautiful weather. I've been cycling like a maniac. I'm about to cycle to Ireland, and in a month's time I'm about to cycle to London. But right now I've cycled to Wales and back in the beautiful weather, and I finally hit 15 stone, and it took a while. The last weight in video was 15.5 stone. I hadn't intended to do any more half stone weigh-ins, but it was taking so long that I thought I would. So in this video, I think I'm just going to go over the phases for each stone dropped over this year and a quarter, maybe 4 stones in a year and a quarter. Back in April 2022, the end of April, that's when I began this mission to drop 6 stone. A year and a quarter from this beautiful August summer's day. I was 19 stone, 266 pounds, and I think, yeah, it was 6 weeks, the 5th of June, when I hit 251 pounds, where 252 pounds is 18 stone, so 6 weeks. It wasn't until the 4th of September, so that's basically 3 months, that I hit 238 pounds, which is 17 stone. The 11th of December, which is 3 months again, where I hit 14 stone, 16 stone, 224 pounds. And yes, now, just a few days ago, the 13th of August, almost, well, 2 stone in almost a year, in 11 months, whereas the first 2 stone took half that time. Looking at the data, I think there's about 6 phases that first 6-week period. The about 13 weeks after that, and then the 14 weeks after that, they're the first 3 stone. And then there's a little bump in weight where I have to, I think it's 6 weeks maybe, where I have to regain. I lose my 16 stone, I add about half a stone and regain 16 stone a second time, and then it's the first half, I suppose, the first half a stone on the way to 15 stone, and then the second half. Or maybe it's time wise, maybe it's not weight wise, but basically it took a long time of failing. So what, if this is August 8th, so I don't know, 4 months of failing and 5 months of failing to make it, and then 3 months of killing it and renewed effort and making that 15 stone goal. So I think the first phase is pretty straightforward. I just bought scales for myself, scales for my food. I bought a NutriBullet, I bought the Galaxy Fit 2, all mostly second hand, nice and cheap. So in this first 6-week period, there were 2 separate weeks, not consecutive, where I lost 5 pounds in each of the weeks. And I think that's, if I'm not watching what I eat, if I'm overeating and I'm not focusing my exercise, I'm adding weight, I'm adding sugar, I'm adding energy, I'm adding water, I'm adding sodium, and I'm also adding like energy that I'm not using, that I'm wasting, that's going to sediment as fat. But I guess it's clearly the case that as you're living freely in terms of calorie intake and outgoing day to day, if you sporadically weigh yourself, you're also weighing all that loose weight. So at 19 stone, I guess I wasn't a sedimented 19 stone. It was a lot of it was loose weight. So in 6 weeks of suddenly not eating whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, and I think in this period I was doing about 2 hour-long cycles a week. I think I had been doing one, but then because I wanted to start losing weight, I started doing 2. And those 2 changes led to a sudden drop away in that loose weight, and I suppose brought me closer to my sedimented weight. And so yeah, the sodium cut down, the sugar cut down, the lower bloating and carrying water, and the use of excess energy all led to sort of a rapid fall away of what I'm calling loose weight. And that was the first phase. Very encouraging. Wow, geez, I lost 5 pounds. I lost 5 pounds again. This isn't too hard. A month and a half, just over a month, and I'm a whole stone down. This is working out well. The second phase was about just over twice as long. Took me 13 weeks to lose the second stone. And I think in this period my cycling went to two or three rather than 1 or 2 hour-long cycles a week. So there was no rapid weight loss weeks here. It was a steady 1 pound down, 2 pound down, or stay the same each week. So a steady, like over the whole period, whether it was 2, whether it was 1, whether it was none, it equals out, right? Because it's 14 pounds, 13 weeks, whichever. A little bit over, leveled off, I guess. But it was steady, is the main point, by and large. And that brings me up to about a year ago. The next stone was again a 14-week period. So on average, it petered out to 1 pound a week down. Though there were a couple of weeks where I did end up gaining, as you know, the previous period was just nothing or 1 or 2 down. This time there were a couple of weeks where I gained a pound or 2, and there was 1 week where I dropped a whole 4 pounds. Cycling in this period started to pick up, even though it was coming into autumn. I started to, do 20-mile cycles on a weekend rather than just 10. I was definitely sort of picking up on the cycling. The moment where I first added weight, though, the first real falter, I suppose, in the whole project, was the middle of October, after I got some heavy news about something. And and it led to quite a bit of overeating. Like I ended up with like over 3,000 calories over my balance, where where I probably was eating so much that I just wasn't going to be able to exercise that away to the tune of 3,500, but not in 1 week. So then it took me a fortnight to regain that balance, to work off that extra calorie deficit and the weight that it caused. Then a month later, a related issue sprung up, which was followed by a weekend with my mother, which always disrupts the routine. Even though I'd regained my balance, I whacked it up another over 2,000 calories on that occasion. But again, I think within a fortnight I'd worked that off. The end of that phase, I got to 16 stone, which was my goal before Christmas, despite those two sort of fortnight long hiccups. But I was delighted. Fourth phase saw a third related event impact my exercise, my comfort eating. It was followed by another visit by my mum. Leading up to Christmas, I suppose exercise is slowing down. Comfort eating's going up regardless. I'm at 16 stone, and then by the end of the year, the week after Christmas, I added 5 pounds that week, and my calorie balance was 16,000 over. So it was a peak of, back up to 16.5 stone, but within 2 weeks of the new year, I worked off that half stone. So mid-January is the end of the fourth phase. I'm 16 stone again. I basically lost a month, which is fine. That's Christmas. It's good to know. In a month, you could add a half a stone by being careless and drop it again by taking care once more. So between mid-June and mid-August, now, that's 29 weeks, and that's how long it took me to lose this final stone. Not the final stone, but this recent stone. Then, that's okay. So the first stone was 6 weeks. So that's £2 a week, I guess, roughly. The next 2 stone were 14 weeks each, roughly. That's £1 a week each. Then I lose a month, and then in phases 5 and 6, I lose £1. Well, every 2 weeks, every fortnight. So there's 3 variable modes, 3 different paces at 50% of each. £2 a week, £1 a week, £1 a fortnight. That's how it's looking. But I've split this final stone into 2 phases because it took so long. So with I suppose in the previous phase, getting back to 16 stone, I'd started the new year, increasing my cycling. So my distances at the weekend had gone from 20, and now they were hitting like 30, 40. I was off the bike for a while with a sprain, but I don't know, I didn't see if that didn't really impact. I couldn't spot where it was, and I couldn't spot any correlated impact on my weight. So I don't know, maybe I'm being a bit careless there, but it looked like it didn't impact things so much as the three legs of stress in the winter, at the end of the year, and Christmas. So January, February, March, I'm cycling. I'm pretty much, I'm losing weight. It's working, but then I go home for 3 weeks, I think, to Ireland, that is, and this period includes Easter, and I pretty much add another half a stone. And I suppose by now, say mid-April, that's when I'm expecting to have lost the whole stone. But I find that I'm either 16 or 15 and a half. I guess 16 stone again, or somewhere between 15 and a half, 16 stone. Or if you smooth out the period, I'm just at 15 and a half stone for ages, because whatever I was on my way to losing, or whatever I was on my way to while losing, once I hit Ireland, it's really difficult to control eating, especially around something like Easter, which is bizarre. This like the birth and death of this ancient quasi-mythical dude adds a stone to my weight every year. If this is the pattern I'm going into, like, I basically, where I'm supposed to hit 15 stone, I'm basically in a wild up and down way, just staying at 15 and a half, more or less. And I think I come back from May. After Easter, April and May, I'm starting to cycle off into the hills and go camping. Then my cycling's starting to get 50 miles. I think it was May, or maybe this is later. Might have been May. Tackle the hills at Buxton to prepare for like the cycle to London and go camping up there. Maybe that is June. Anyway, I end up another week or two in Ireland at the end of May, and I come back the start of June, and it's just like, okay, this project has stalled. It's probably about then that I've made the last video, the 15 and a half stone one. So yeah, I'm at like, what is it, 216 pounds, I think, for ages. And I've hit it and I've gone away from it, and I've hit it again a bunch of times, going up and down, hitting off that just below 15 and a half stone, and I just can't breach it. But I come back in June and it's just like renewed effort. It's time to sort this out. It's summertime, you're cycling, you've got these cycle length goals. You want to cycle to Ireland, you want to cycle to London. This needs focus. This needs real, like, you need to know that you can do these distances. This is the final phase, the 6th phase. June, July, August. 2.5 months, a half a stone to go. After Easter, the calorie deficit was up to 30,000 over. So yeah, so 16 from Christmas, another 14 added to that with the ups and downs in between for Easter. But the effort in June, I get that down to 20 again. Finally breaking new weight, 215 pounds, another 2 pounds in mid-July after intense cycling, 213 pounds. The distances are getting more and more. The weekend ones are getting longer. End of July saw the Talisker cycle, 120 miles in a weekend, and I ended that cycle 1 pound off, 15 stone, and then mid-August, I got the balance, the 20k balance, down to zero again. I was back in positive. I cycled 30,000 calories in over, off, beyond like what a normal week should be. You know, if I'm eating 2,000 a day, maybe 4,000 on a Friday and 4,000 on a Saturday, and I'm working about 4,000 a week to make those extra two. This was, I don't know, in 2 months, working off an extra 30,000, and yeah, I mean, I get off that Talisker cycle, and I'm 1 pound away. And in the last 2 weeks, I keep it up. Like I'm cycling to Widnes and back, Runcorn. I keep it up, and I finally made it. Really didn't feel like I was going to. And it took twice as long as the previous two, 4 times as long as the first one. But, you know, I mean, as I described, that makes some sort of sense. But that was tough. That was definitely, I mean, okay, it's mid-November and I'm looking back on August now and I'm remembering. I mean, to be honest, okay, it didn't feel tough then. It felt tough before, when I was like, shit, how am I going to do this? So once the effort, it was almost like the previous year, once the effort started, that's kind of it. That's the focus. And by the end, because the goals are oriented not so much to weight, but to cycling distance and the excitement, like next week, the week after I get the 15 stone, that's when I'm going to, like I said at the start, to cycle to Talisker and then onto the ferry. But having that fitness, knowing that I can do that, being sure I can, that's the thing that my mind is on. Just being excited, whoa, just getting on the bike and just going, and those adventures, and that's lovely. And a byproduct of that was losing that weight. That's getting to 15 stone, and if you want to see if I can manage the final 2 over the next half year, I mean, I was hoping to finish this season with the 13 stone, but it's not looking like it's going to be. So I got to figure some stuff out. I might even split the channel off into themes, set up a bunch of channels and do themes if I can figure out if I can keep content going for each at a decent rate. We'll see. But yeah, if you wanna follow along, at least this is the jumping off point for whatever might happen in the future. So do hit subscribe. Liking, giving it a thumbs up is supposed to be very helpful, but I would love to hear from people in the comments. If you're sharing things, if you've got hints, if you've got questions, get in touch. Cheers.